right now, because of the Industrial Revolution, there's a very sick idea, which is that if a person isn't constantly working, then they're lazy. You should always be working. If you're not working, you should be looking for a fucking job.
Yeah.
Right? We've defined ourselves based on in the Industrial Revolution. We've defined ourselves as beings that should always be working. And not only that, but we're defining ourselves by factory ethics. So if we're living in a world where we've been taught as a matter of survival, you got to be up in your fucking head.
Yeah.
You're waking up at 5 a.m. You're maybe driving an hour and a half through traffic to get to a job that you know doesn't really help anybody, and where you have to fake work, and maybe you even have to fake happiness. Like,
right.
You might be in a public job, so you have to fake happiness, and then you maybe will have a 10 or 30 minutes to yourself every day, not including your sleep cycle. So collectively, that means that we've all probably been retreating up into our minds, because to try to be in your heart in that situation must be incredibly painful, right?
Yes, because then you would really be feeling it, and you would be given into that part of you that's like always like, I don't know if I'm having a lot of effect on the world, or if I'm really creating, farming myself the best.
That's it. And I imagine if like in some dark universe, if you wanted to run a laboratory where you had access to a bunch of babies and you could just raise them, you could probably make the babies believe that every morning when you wake up, you walk 6 times clockwise, and every 45 minutes you walk counterclockwise, especially if you like started electrocuting them if they didn't do this ritual. So maybe these kids are all wearing some kind of shock collars or something, so they have to do this ritual every 45 minutes or they get shocked. Probably by the time they're 16, you could take the shock collar off, and they're going to spend the rest of their life in the laboratory doing this fucking thing. So I think probably what happened is maybe during the Industrial Revolution, we were just taught something that was just a complete and absolute lie, which is that you can sell time.
Yeah.
And that's nothing to be more
valuable than that.
More of a fucking, it's not true. You can't sell time. What does that look like when suddenly humanity is forced to come to terms with something that seems really obvious?
Yeah.
Which is that a person's life is not meant for work.
Right. Wow. And that
Graeber was writing about how like slave owners used to say, you got to keep these motherfuckers busy, because if you don't, they're gonna run. They're gonna run. They were demented, monstrous people who were like fully aware of the human psyche, and they knew that if these human beings that they had captured were given any amount of free time, they would split. So if I am wanting to control a society and I'm wanting to harvest their energy, then the last thing I want is for them to have free time.
Right.
There is way more of us than there are of them. And by us, I mean people who are, human beings, who don't feel like being exploited or objectified. There's just so much more
of us.
It
seems so, it almost starts to seem so lopsided. It starts to seem like, why have we been the slaves for so long?
Right. And that's, if you were running a plantation and you heard that conversation, you would want to figure out a way to make that conversation not happen.
Right.
So what would you do? So maybe you would like, okay, fuck. Somehow these slaves have gotten access to technology. They're starting to figure some stuff out. All right. Well, let's make the slaves imagine they do have a little bit of power. And then let's make the slaves imagine they do have some autonomy. It's like, now we don't have slavery, we have jobs. So now it's like, okay, so you go to work, you got a job, congrats. Unemployment, lowest in 50 years. Woo! We did it. Meanwhile, it's like, what does that really mean? Imagine how dangerous it would be if you were a tiger herder. Now,
okay, imagine you had to herd tigers. Go on, I'm in this.
You would be fucking scared shitless, right? Because you'd be like, man, these tigers, if they figure out they're tigers, then there's no way they're going to let us herd them anymore, because they're way bigger than us. They're fast. They're dangerous. But then think how much more dangerous humans are than tigers. We are devious technological creatures that are learning how to go to the fundamental elements of the universe and reconfigure. We can reconfigure atoms. We know how to. We are such amazing beings, so much potential, and we're being herded. And the way we're being herded is by being told that time is money.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're being herded by and pulsed. We're being pulsed. So it's like if you look over a city, you see this like whoop, 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 which is red light, green light, whoop, whoop, whoop. It's a circulatory system, a pulsing circulatory system of sentient advanced beings in metal shells who all think that they're doing something unique. But if you looked at it from the sky, it's no different than looking at ants carrying bread from a picnic. It's just it's a hive.
Right.
And the hive is being pulsed. And the thing that's pulsing that hive, well, I'm not really sure exactly what that is. But
right.